Hello, everybody. I know I did a bad job about advertising for this live. So for this live, I'm going to bring on my new friend, Lisa. Lisa is an Enneagram coach. So she's going to join us in a second, and we're going to talk about, I'm super excited. We're going to talk about the Enneagram and how it relates with deployments and military separations, and then Lisa's gonna teach us how we can use this knowledge. A super fun post for showing you how the different enneagrams show up. Hey
friend.
How's it going?
So good. I'm really impressed that you're all put together in the middle of your Diddy move. So yay you.
only because of the live.
Yeah.
I was like, I can do it today.
Yeah.
I can do it today. I do even I'm the kind of person where it's like, it's not that I don't think that you look good without makeup. I am very adamant of, I don't apologize if I show up on anything. If I show up to a place without makeup, if I show up online without makeup, it's not a, just being real. This is how I look. It's like, no, this is
real life.
It just goes without saying real life. But I do like that I look less tired with makeup on.
Amen, sister.
I feel like that. That does help, during a Diddy move, that does help me every few days to be like, okay, I'm awake. Look.
Yeah.
I'm sleep deprived.
I'm awake.
Okay, so if people who are just on missed what I was saying before we brought Lisa on, this is my friend Lisa. Hey, welcome to the party. And sorry, 1 second. Never mind, whatever. And we are going to talk about Enneagrams because you're an Enneagram coach, right?
I am.
Your title. She's also a military spouse, so she is well versed in our life style. But we're going to talk about Enneagrams and how knowing yourself can help you during a deployment or a military separation. So I found Lisa because Mama's on the Move, which if you've followed me for any time at all, I love Mallory over there. She talks about Diddy. You did how each Enneagram shows up for a PCS, which was so perfect because I had heard about an Enneagram, but I don't think I had taken a test yet. And so that was okay, which one am I? I need to know what I am. So maybe real fast, just introduce yourself.
Okay. So I am Lisa Winbolt. I am an Army chaplain wife. I have 4 kiddos that I homeschool, and I turned into an Enneagram coach because I wanted to help military families just dealing with the hard. There's so much in life that's already hard enough, and then we have this military life that makes it 1,000 times harder. And I was watching couples just fight and not understand each other and just miss each other. And so I wanted something that I could immediately help couples with. And so enter the Enneagram. I found it a couple of years ago, and I was like, this is it. This is the piece that I was looking for in order to be able to give couples skills and tools to help with their mindset and just shift and realize, oh, we're not out to get each other. We're actually in this together. We just don't understand what's driving our hearts and our minds and all of our actions. And so this Enneagram is a beautiful tool that's going to help with all of that once you can find your core type.
Yeah, I love that. And for those of you, whether you're listening live or we're going to post the recording in all the places, think to yourself, one, do you know your it's
a mouthful. Enneagram type.
Enneagram type. Do you know your type? But even do you know yourself?
Right.
Self-awareness, if you have gotten the Staying Connected During Military Separations workbook or listened to half of my podcast, self-awareness is very powerful. It is very, very powerful. And this, I guess, just takes it to another level, which kind of leads to my first question, what is it about the Enneagram that's better than other personality tests, or better than just kind of like knowing I'm a patient person, I'm a not patient person, I'm,
Yes.
all that kind of stuff? What
I
makes,
love that question. So I'm a type 7, which, if you know anything, is the entertaining optimist. I'm all about joy and living my best life. So I've always loved personality tests and just trying to figure people out. I think it's fascinating. So what's different about the Enneagram is this is a personality tool. It's not just a test. And so you'll hear people say, I took the test and now I know I'm this type. And I'm like, no, friend, this is really a journey, and it's so much deeper than the tests that are out there. So I'll name some like Myers-Briggs or the DISC or Strength Finders. You take those tests and it types you as this one specific type, and then it's like, okay, I'm an ESTJ, deal with me. And I don't like that. I don't like that it's like, like now my husband just has to accept that I'm kind of a jerk often and I don't have to do anything about it. Whereas with the Enneagram, you're going to learn your core type, and we have 4 motivations. So our core fear, our core desire, our core weakness, and our core longing. And so what we're going to understand is basically what's driving our thoughts and our feelings and our behaviors. It's not looking at the outward behaviors and then saying this is who you are. It's looking at your inner world. So that's why it's hard to take a test and say this is my type, because as you can imagine, it's really hard to get all your feelings in your inner world onto a test. So I love that it's going to help us to just go deeper. Understanding your type, I like to say, is like the tip of the iceberg. That's just the beginning of it. And there's just this rich, beautiful tool under here to help us go deeper into the mindset and what's causing stress, and what do our natural patterns in our behavior look like, so that we can recognize them, because I think most of us aren't self-aware, and then make changes and actually grow, rather than just being like, deal with me, husband.
yeah, yeah. But even like, how many times do you think, I mean, and by you, I mean like, if anybody listening,
Yeah.
like, do you think, why do I always do that? You know what I mean? Like, I have
Right.
conversations with my husband all the time of just like, this happened again and I don't know why I let it happen, or it's not how I want to react,
Exactly.
not how I want things to be happening, but like it's just what blurts out. And I know I did that for years, and it wasn't until we started to get self-aware, and even just in the last month of since, maybe it's been longer than a month, my whole of like time is totally
Yeah.
off, but the last few months since I took the Enneagram test, and then my husband took the Enneagram test a while ago, and we've been talking about like how we mesh together. It's been so helpful, especially for me as a wife and a partner, to be like, that's why he does
Exactly.
that. We've been married for 10 years, which I know
Yeah.
isn't forever, but like that's a substantial amount of time. We have had 5 children. We have moved
A million times.
9 times. I don't, like I really need to count it out, because I've just been saying 9 million times and I
Yeah.
lost. But like, we've done 2 deployments and 12 long distance military
So
separation.
much.
Like, that's how old we are, really. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think I'm 30 years old. I think I'm 5 kids, 12 military separations old. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, but all of that experience, and I feel like the last 2 months explains so much and helps me understand him and helps me be so much more patient with myself and him, simply because I get the driving factors.
You
Like
said
it,
that so beautifully. Yes.
yeah, like it
Yes.
just, so how can that's how it's like helped me in my
Yeah.
relationship. But how can knowing yourself better, because I think we need to work on us first before we can like even talk about or think about working on our military couple relationships. But how can knowing yourself better help yourself during something as monstrous as a deployment or a military separations? I know there's not as
Yeah.
many deployments, but the even the 2 to 3 week TDYs, or I
Can
mean,
be stressful. Yeah.
go bachelor for 4 months or whatever. Like,
Yeah.
how can knowing yourself help you? And is there is there really that big of a difference in how we're all affected by the same thing? Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yes,
because,
yes, and yes.
you know, and
Yes. Yeah, so I love what you said in that the Enneagram is a tool that's going to help us just to understand ourselves better and then give more grace or understanding to ourselves and then to the people in our lives, right? Same with me. I've been married 20 years, almost 20 years this month. And so I didn't understand why my husband is so particular about our cupboard, like where we keep our food. I'm like, why do you care, man? Like, just let it be because I don't care as a seven. I'm like, let's just have people over and enjoy life. And he's like, no,
mhm,
there's order and there's a way to do these things. And so it's helped us to realize, like, oh, that's why he does things because he's a type one. So he cares about how things are, and I don't. So
mhm,
we can, again, have that language to discuss things. So your question was, how can this help us with deployments or with anything that's hard in life? And really, it's going to help you just to understand your natural patterns in your behavior and in your personality. So I didn't realize as a type 7 that when I get stressed, I go into a type 1, which becomes very orderly and very much need to have like things done correctly. And so now that I'm aware, I can feel it and I can recognize and go, uh-oh, I'm going into my stress path, which isn't healthy, right? Like
mhm.
we're going to do this constantly because we're human, but now I can recognize it and say, what can I do instead of yelling at my kids because they left some crumbs on the floor? What would be healthier and a better response for them or for my spouse, right? So it's just going to again give you awareness to say, nope, this doesn't feel good, this isn't who I am, there's something wrong. So let's take some deep breaths, let's go through these steps to just take a step back and say, let me do something different. Let me take a break so that I don't fall into these patterns that are just in my personality and then wreak havoc on everybody who's around me, right? So we're going to all deal with stress differently. Every personality looks different. My husband, as a one, when he's stressed, he goes into the type 7, which is kind of funny. So he's just going to be like more scattered and like, let's just go have fun. And I'm like, no, we have to pack a million thousand boxes. We can't go out and have fun. So, you know, understanding that about each other is going to be, we're able to have the conversations to say, hey, are you stressed? You look a little stressed, or what I heard you say sounds like you might be stressed. So what can I do to help you? What
Mhm.
do you need from me? So it's so necessary, I think, for everybody, no matter who you are, what stage of life, to understand this about yourself so that you can, again, just be healthier and be balanced. And that's what the Enneagram does, is it brings balance to our lives to help us to realize, okay, this is natural, but that doesn't mean I have to stay in it, right? That doesn't mean I have to be stuck here. I can do something different to stay in my healthier me.
Yeah. So, one, it is so funny that you are a 7 and your husband is a 1, because my husband is a 1 and I'm a 7,
Yeah.
and we're also chaplain families.
Yeah.
It's like, that's just so funny. And everything you're saying, I'm like,
Yep.
literally than us. But just to give an even more specific example of how this can show up, because I know I love everything you're saying, but I also love when people get very honest, because then I can see it even more in myself. So with exactly what Lisa was saying, an example of this, when I think it was a deployment, Austin was deployed, I noticed, so I'm normally very easygoing, um, and spontaneous, and exactly what you said happens, of like, stress came in and I was like, okay, everything has to be perfectly in order, like that's the only way we're going to survive this. And that was my mentality of how I was going to approach this deployment. But like you said, that's me going, and now it's like it makes so much more sense, and I wish I had seen it. But like, that was me going into unhealthy mode. And so
Yes.
I was trying to make, like, completely change our family system and order, which there is a time and a place for that, right? But like, because of where I was coming from with that need to do that, it caused so much stress.
Yes.
Like, so much stress. And it was me thinking I was setting our family up for success with the deployment, and it did the opposite. So
Right. Your kids are like, can we have sweet mama back?
yeah,
Where
like,
did she go?
Yeah. And so it took, like, I eventually kind of let go of it, and having a few conversations with my husband, he was just like, you don't have to do this right now. And I just wish I had known. Like, if I had known that what I was doing was me going to my unhealthy self, then it would have been so much easier, and that deployment would have gone so differently. Like, just so differently. So that's just like a very specific example of, like, it can be a very small thing that really changes your peace. I like how you said, like, it's
Yes.
about feeling the peace and balance.
Yep.
Yeah. So, other question, how can each Enneagram, because there's 9, how can they help themselves better thrive through a deployment or long-term military separation?
All right, I'm going to knock these out, friend. There are 9 core types. If you're not familiar with this, then reach out. I'll help you.
Mm-hmm.
So the first one is the reformer, type 1, and they are very good at seeing black and white and what is right. And so for them to help them through a deployment, it's going to be just relaxing that grip on having to have control over everything, and realize that it's okay to ask for help. And when people do come in and help, it doesn't have to be a certain way in order for it to work. And just having more flexibility to the helpers, they are so good at helping everybody else except for themselves. So for type 2s during the deployments, they need to set healthy boundaries and say no. Say no to the people outside of their immediate home and focus on their kiddos and their own needs emotionally. And then when they feel strong, then they can start to help people again. But just being able to say no and be with their kiddos or be alone is going to be so helpful for them during deployments or any kind of stress. Our type 3 successful achievers, they are really good at knowing how to do all the things and being successful in business and their families in every area. So for them during deployments, it's going to be really important to just set a healthy balance between work and home and focusing on, again, on relationships. Type 3s tend to block off their emotions, especially in stress, but they're in the heart triad. So they are emotional beings. And so being able to tap into their emotions and say, it's okay, I can embrace the suck and I can embrace this hard and be with my people. And I don't have to be successful in order to be loved and love other people. Our type 4s are our romantic individualists, and they are so great at experiencing all the emotions in life, and they're going to go into probably just a melancholy state. So recognizing that and realizing they don't have to stay in it, that they need to, it's okay to feel all their emotions, but they're going to need to reach out to their besties and bring them in to say, I'm struggling, I need some help, especially if their mama is to say, like, I need some help loving these babies because I have all the deep, dark feelings. And that's just part of the beauty of fours. Get out there and be creative, fours, and use their gifts at creating beautiful things in order to help deal with the hard. Our type 5s are investigative thinkers. They are typically have really low batteries. So all of us, we go to sleep and we wake up and we have, 80 to 100% recharge. Our 5s only have about 50%. So when they have this extra stress and strain, they're going to feel like they have no energy to give to the world. So I encourage them during deployments in the hard, get outside and move your body. You're going to want to stay in and just be in all your thoughts, and that's not going to help you to get out of it. So move your body, invite a bestie or two into your world, and just share the hard with them and keep on moving forward and realizing it's okay to rest, but you need to bring people in also. Our type 6ers are our loyal guardians. They are typically anxious people. And so probably deployment and the stress of that is going to just add more anxiety. So again, having people around you that you can share with and say, I am really struggling with this. Help me to realize like that these fears are probably not healthy. They're not probably grounded in truth. So I would say talk to your besties, make sure you're practicing self-care and healthy mindset work for our 6s, focus on gratitude daily. take those long baths and invite the people into your life that you can share with so you're not holding it all in your head. Our
Mhm.
type sevens, during the hard, they're going to want to ignore the hard and just keep on living their best lives and having fun and having all the parties, but they're going to get to a point where they need to just rest. And it's okay as a seven to realize you don't have to be the life of the party all the time. You don't have to be the person who's bringing all the people together. Just be and just rest. And if you need people around you, invite one or two friends over. You don't need to have the whole neighborhood. So take time to rest, take time to just be. For our eights, the protective challenger, they are amazing at seeing big picture and just accomplishing goals, seeing all the things they need to do. They need to also, same thing, just kind of bring their inner circle together and help them to see, like, I'm struggling, this is hard, and be open and honest with their emotions. They're typically will shut off during stress and just want to push through. So I encourage you, don't push through, embrace the emotions and bring in your people that you trust to share with them. And
Mhm.
then our type nines, our peaceful mediators, they just want peace and harmony. And so they're going to do whatever it takes to get that. And just realizing that when you are saying no to yourself, that's not bringing harmony or peace. When you're, trying to please everybody around you, that's not going to bring that peace that you want. So be honest with the hard. Bring in your friends to help you with the cleaning and the chores and all the things that are overwhelming to you. Have a cleaning party. Your best girlfriends will do that for you. Invite them over to be with you and your kids so that you're not having to extend extra energy outside of your home to
Mhm.
be with people, because nines need people as well. And that is our really fast nutshell.
That was amazing. That was
Thanks.
amazing. One, it was you were just like, let's go. But two, just the information is like, what's the word? Like it's applicable.
Yes.
It's very real. It's not surface level. Like it's just like it's so spot on and just like gets you right at the heart. Not necessarily like stabs you at the heart, but it just like
Yes.
because I know, yeah, it just is really powerful. And I like how the way you described it and what we can do is very actionable. And it
Yes.
does take, I will say, I do think it takes a lot of bravery to be who you are, especially to be your healthiest self.
Yep.
Which kind of going back to what you were saying before of like why Enneagram is a little bit better than the other personalities, because it's not the way that it's structured and most people talk about it. Like, it's not to say, this is who I am, so deal with it. It's like, this is who you are and this is how you can be healthier and be
Yes.
brave enough to be healthier, even if not, especially during a deployment, especially while you're solo parenting for the umpteenth time and they're gone on what seems like the silliest field training that you could ever.
Yes.
Doesn't make you, but like be brave enough to be self-aware and try to be a little bit healthier. Like it doesn't have to be, I think it doesn't have to be as hard as like we
Right.
think. Everything that you mentioned of the different types and like how they can be healthier during a deployment or a military separation, none of it was like go run a marathon.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
which if you want to do that, like good for you, but that's not the first answer. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I love that. I love that so much. So, Lisa, um, second to last question.
Okay.
What if people want to learn more? Because, like, I know I'm like in deep. I'm like, okay,
Yes.
tell me all
Love
the
that.
things and let's figure out how to apply it to every single aspect of military spouse life,
Yes. Yes.
um, which we will probably do in the future. But I got to move first. But, um, what, like, if people want to learn more and connect with you, what's the best way for them to do that?
Just go to my bio and you'll find the resources that I love the most. So you'll see a free video that I have that I love to start people off with if they're trying to find their type. the test that I like the best out of all of them, because they're only 50 to 75% accurate, a place to jump on a call with me if you're like, can you help me? I'm stressed. I don't know where to start. And then I have a full blog to help you with all the Enneagram things in all military life. So just go to the link in my bio or just message me. I would love to chat with you.
Okay. And for people who are listening on YouTube or the podcast, what is your handle?
At Lisa Winbolt. Winbolt's a doozy, so it's a win. I'm going to win the race and I'm going to bolt. And and then my website is just www.lisa/sideways/winbolt.com. And you'll find everything there.
Perfect. Now, last question is my favorite question, and I haven't recorded a podcast in a year, so it makes me excited to ask it again. What is your key to thriving that you want to share with your fellow waiting warriors?
Oh, I'd love that. My key to thriving is focusing on gratitude daily, realizing that there's always things that we can be grateful for. And once we can help our mindset to focus on those things, I think everything else tends to fall into place, to realize like, okay, this is not so big that I can't, manage this today. And then second, reach out. We are made for community. So reach out to somebody. If you don't have a bestie or a person that you can reach out to me. I would love to help you just navigate this wonderful life that we're a part of.
I love that. That is such a good quote. We are made for community. Like, it's not a weakness.
Amen.
It's how we are made. Love it. Okay, guys, go check out. We're going to have a post. I was supposed to post it before, but that didn't happen.
Life.
And well, there's a whole story, and I'll tell it in my stories. I lost my AirPod this morning, but Lisa spelled out every Enneagram and how you can better help yourself, your kids, and your relationship with your service member and your home during a deployment or military separation. So that's going to get posted in the next 15 minutes. So go check out that. Say hi to Lisa. If you are listening on a different whatever, or even if you're just listening on Instagram, I would love if you would do a story and tell us what you learned. If it was a holy cow that she said, she described me to the T, she described me, or what your big takeaway, anything like that. I love when I get to hear not just hey, this was so helpful, but what are your little moments. So let us know, reach out to either of us if you have any questions. And thank you so much, Lisa.
Oh, it was my pleasure.
I love this so much.
Thanks for having me, friend.
Have a good day. And I forget every time how to end this. It's the X. Okay, bye.
Bye.